Buba, I'm going to turn to you next, and we've heard from Ian that the private sector would like more and more meaningful dialogue. We heard from Theo yesterday that his one wish was more open debate between farmers and government. We've heard from Fatma that particularly at a regional level, it's hard to contact all the people that you need to contact. May need to do it on the back of other meetings. And from Godfrey, we've heard that inclusion is one of the areas in which the existing processes don't score quite as high as we would like. So I'd like you to address that from the perspective of non-state actors, and in particular, because a key characteristic of a good sector review process is the extent and quality of inclusivity. How do you judge the progress that has been made in recent years to integrate non-state actors in the country review processes, and what are the most important obstacles to overcome at this time?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, James. I think we can all agree that progress has been made. We are getting there slowly but surely. That would go into, maybe looking behind. Let's look at where we started as non-state actors. Being very loose, not organized, and governments, use that to, pick on, the ones that they can work with, rather than, having a holistic view of how to work with all of the non-state actors grouping. So what we can say is that we are getting organized now, because from that time on, when NPCA and AUC felt that the non-state actor participation in the CADEP process need to be boosted, the commission has studied that look at how that could be done, and a number of challenges came up, and after that we felt among our non-state actors groupings that we need to organize. So we started doing that. Now at the continental level, we have a group, moving towards getting a secretariat for the non-state actors grouping called the CADEP Non-State Actors Coalition. So that is a key starting point. And we are increasingly also going down, at the national level, trying to mobilize, to organize our groups in championing this cause to be a part of the work that is currently happening. In view of that, we're building partnerships, which is very key in this. And the partnerships, of course, with development partners, with governments, as well as with ReSAKSS. Godfrey mentioned that we have signed a memorandum of understanding with the ReSAKSS with a view to enhance non-state actors' participation in these processes, like joint sector review and mutual accountability. So that is one key area we are building on to move on. And we are also increasingly building trust among ourselves, with governments at national level, as well as the continental and regional level. Because we felt that among ourselves, we are a very diverse group, difficulty in working together. So that trust among ourselves is quite key, that we are trying to, increasingly work on. And with the governments, we've come from a background where government sees civil society or non-state actors as just there to make noise, and not to contribute effectively. We are now, changing the narrative to tell them that we are development in partners. We are partners in development, and there is a need for us to work together. I think that is yielding fruition. We have currently done some work with Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, that is building that trust and moving on. And one key thing is also, building the capacities of our members, because, we've mentioned that if you want to participate, you need to know how. You need to know how to engage at what time. So our members, that capacity needed to be enhanced, both technically, and as well as financially, because to organize a large constituency like non-state actors without any resources is proving difficult. We are slowly going there. The partnership with ReSAKSS is helping out. We are going to work on a full proposal, to help us, enhance that and work through it. And in all these processes, there are key fundamental challenges which we need to address. We have seen, as Godfrey mentioned, we're working with them, to get involved in the joint sector reviews in all the countries that we've mentioned. We send them lists of our contacts at the national level so that the ReSAKSS focal persons ensure that our contacts, are involved in the processes. And as well as the regional level, we were part of the ECOWAS initial meeting for the planning, and also moving forward, engaging our members to get involved in the regional JSR process with ECOWAS. However, fundamentally, we are challenged by our diversity of our members. We are from different groups: the private sector, the civil society, the farmers, youth, women's group. So it's a strength in itself, but again, difficulty in, bringing this together is something that we are constantly working on. I've mentioned capacity issues, both technical and financial. Technical, in a sense, joint sector review is not just to add figures to the numbers. Okay, it's just not to be part of the process. But what value are you bringing in? And how can we be able to make that contribution without the necessary capacity? So that is something that we're working on with the ReSAKSS. The partnership with SIGN is working on, because in all our meetings we had in Tanzania, Uganda, they are there to give, the understanding to our members so that they can grasp the need for them to be a part of this joint sector review, as well as making them understand what it is from their part that they need to contribute. Because that is one issue, the paradigm shifts from holding others accountable and not others holding you to account. So that is one thing that we are increasingly working on, because oftentimes we feel that we just need to hold donors accountable and governments. But, they begin to question us. How about yourself? You have to be accountable to what you are doing. So one key challenge on that is, how do we increasingly align our programs to the CADEP process, the national investment plans, regional investment plans? So for us to be able to work on a mutual, accountability process as well as joint sector review, as been mentioned in the principles, there need to be a shared vision or agenda. Unless we work on that, it will be difficult for, that reverse accountability to take place, and also agree on common objectives. Moving forward, I think I mentioned that building trust is quite, helpful, and it will boost our credibility, and we are not taking it for granted. We are working on it, both within our membership. The work with Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya are clerical examples. We are also mapping and organizing our members across the level, so that all stakeholders, when you go to a country, by a click of a button, you can know who are the non-state actors in these countries, where are they, how do I contact them? So that mapping exercise have also started. We begin with Tanzania. Our colleagues are here to attest to that. We are going to move on to other countries to do that mapping, and organizing ourselves, because that is key. Also organizing accountability platforms for policy dialogues at national, regional, and continental level. I think that is key to, mutual accountability, because the gap increasingly between all these players is widening, unless and until we come to a table so that we dialogue and understand from each other's perspectives, we might not be able to change. I think the game changer is trust, the trust in coming together to be able to address the issues more effectively. Thank you.